in this session we are going to discuss determination of chemical oxygen demand for the wastewater sample. To understand the strength of the sewage and to determine the efficiency of the treatment plant, the chemical oxygen demand test will be performed. Determining the amount of oxygen required by the microorganisms to oxidize the organic matter under aerobic condition at standard temperature and time. So the BOD test will be performed either for 3 days at 27 degrees Celsius, or the BOD test will be performed for 5 days at 20 degrees Celsius, depending on the requirement. So in case of BOD, we will be going for first stage BOD test. Usually we will be going for determining the carbonaceous organic matter. However, it takes little bit longer time, plus it gives only biodegradable organic matter. So the COD is a simplified version, and wherein we will be determining the amount of oxygen required for oxidizing both biodegradable and non-biodegradable organic matter by making use of strong oxidizing agent, that is potassium dichromate. Under acidic condition, we will be making use of what is called as the H2SO4, concentrated H2SO4 containing Ag2SO4. So basically the COD test requires around about 3 hours of total duration of time. It gives both biodegradable as well as non-biodegradable organic matter content. That means total strength of the sewage in terms of biodegradable as well as non-biodegradable organic matter can be obtained by performing COD test. It takes only 3 hours, whereas BOD test takes either 3 days or 5 days. But BOD test gives only biodegradable organic matter. COD gives both biodegradable as well as non-biodegradable organic matter, organic and inorganic matter. So that indicates that COD value is going to be higher than the BOD value. If you consider a wastewater sample or sewage sample or any industrial wastewater, always the COD value will be greater than BOD. The basic reason is that it gives both biodegradable as well as non-biodegradable organic matter. As the definition of chemical oxygen demand suggests, that it is the amount of oxygen required to oxidize the biodegradable and non-biodegradable organic matter by making use of strong oxidizing agent under aerobic condition. That means what will be done is, we will be considering the reflux tubes here. So that means already we have prepared the sample for the distilled water as well as the sewage. So what we have done is to determine how much amount of the K2Cr2O7 will get oxidized, right? So for that, what needs to be done is we require what is called as 0.4 grams of mercuric sulfate. We require around about 25 ml of potassium dichromate, that is K2Cr2O7, 0.1 normality. And we require 30 ml of concentrated Ag2SO4, that is H2SO4 containing Ag2SO4. We will be adding what is called as the glass beads, right? So around 6 to 8 numbers for equal distribution of heat and to avoid the bumping. So in case of cooking, right? So whenever we will be making use of oil for equal distribution of heat, sometimes we will be adding mustard seeds, right? Likewise, we will be adding the glass beads here, okay, just to keep my explanation very simple. So what will be done is, in the one of the reflux tube, we will be pipetting out 5 ml of distilled water. Before pipetting out 5 ml of distilled water, we will be adding 0.4 grams of mercuric sulfate. We will be adding 0.4 grams of HgSO4. After adding 0.4 grams of HgSO4, we will be adding 5 ml of the pipetted distilled water into the reflux tube. Once it is added, we will be going for addition of 25 ml of potassium dichromate of 0.1 normality. slowly the potassium dichromate needs to be added into the reflux tube. After that, we will be adding around 6 numbers of glass beads. Now, after adding glass beads, we are going to add concentrated H2SO4 containing Ag2SO4. We should make sure that the concentrated H2SO4 containing Ag2SO4 of 30 ml will be poured into the reflux tube wherein already other solutions have been added, like the 5 ml distilled water and 25 ml K2Cr2O7. The pouring of the concentrated H2SO4 containing Ag2SO4 should be done in such a way that it will be dropwise, continuous stirring is required, and this particular reflux tube should be placed under the tap and the tap should be kept open, so that what will happen is there won't be increase in the heat, because whenever we add some acid, concentrated acid, there will be a sudden reaction, right? So just to avoid, right, the sudden heat discharge, we should see that particular reflux tube needs to be cooled. That means the temperature should be maintained. Then we are going to place this particular reflux tube in a container or a vessel wherein already the cold water is being stored. Once it is done, we will be going for the second reflux tube. In the second reflux tube, what will be done is we will be again adding 0.4 grams of mercuric sulfate. Then we will be adding 5 ml of diluted or aliquot sample of the wastewater. Now it goes with the experience, that is with respect to dilution of the wastewater is concerned. Now in this particular case, we have considered 2.5 ml sewage and 2.5 ml distilled water. That means, what is the dilution factor here? The dilution factor is what? It is the ratio of volume of diluted sewage to the volume of undiluted sewage. The diluted sewage volume is 5, undiluted is 2.5. So the dilution factor is 2. So that is how we will be arriving. Anyway, so in this particular case, what we have done? We have considered 0.4 grams of mercuric sulfate, 2.5 ml of sewage and 2.5 ml of distilled water, making it as 5 ml, considering dilution factor as 2 in the present condition. It depends, if you are going for industrial effluent, in that particular case, the dilution factor required will be much higher, depending on the type of the industry you are going to target for. After it is being done, the next step is to add 25 ml of strong oxidizing agent. The strong oxidizing agent that is used for the COD test, that is chemical oxidation demand test, is K2Cr2O7 of 0.1 normality. We will be adding around about 25 ml. After adding that, we will be adding around about 6 numbers of the glass beads. I hope it is visible. After that, we will be pouring this particular reflux tube containing the ingredients under the tap, right? So the tap will be kept open so that the water will be poured on the outer side, right? You should make sure that the water will not enter into this particular reflux tube. So continuous stirring will be done, right? So we are going to add 30 ml of concentrated H2SO4 containing Ag2SO4. Slowly it should be added and the reflux tube should be stirred, right? And we should see that the tap water is made to fall over this particular reflux tube just to maintain the temperature. Once it is done, right? We'll be placing these particular reflux tubes containing the solutions in a vessel wherein water is added. So we'll be just keeping it for around about 5 minutes. After that, we'll be taking these two reflux tubes. In one of the tube we have added 5 ml distilled water. In the other tube we have taken 2.5 ml sewage and 2.5 ml distilled water. So this will be placed in the COD digester. The temperature with which these tubes will be refluxed is going to be at 150 degrees Celsius. It will be refluxed for 2 hours. Okay. So we'll be refluxing it for 2 hours at a temperature of 150 degrees Celsius. Okay. Now we'll just wait for 2 hours. After that, we are going to take out all the solutions in separate conical flask, and we'll be adding ferrine indicator and we'll be titrating it against ferrous ammonium sulfate of 0.1 normality. We should make sure that the K2Cr2O7 should get digested. The K2Cr2O7 will get digested if and only the sample is going to have biodegradable and non-biodegradable organic matter. In case of distilled water, K2Cr2O7 will not be utilized. That's why the titration reading you are going to get it for the distilled water will be much more than the wastewater. The reason is that in wastewater we are going to have both biodegradable as well as non-biodegradable organic matter. That is the reason why the K2Cr2O7 will get digested. That's why the titrant reading, the volume of the titrant consumed will be less for the sample than compared to the reflux tube wherein we have carried out the reflux for 2 hours for what is called as the distilled water. Because there we are not going to have the pollutants. So after short period of time, right, we will be taking it out, right, for titration. So let us see what will happen after 2 hours of reflux. Okay, we have refluxed the samples for 2 hours. After refluxing, the contents of the reflux tubes have been transferred into individual conical flasks. So we have kept these particular conical flasks on the magnetic stirrer. We have added the magnet here, and we have collected ferrous ammonium sulfate of 0.1 normality, and we have taken it in the burette, and we will be going for titration. Before going for titration, we will be adding this particular indicator called ferrine indicator. We will be adding around about 3 to 4 drops. So we will be getting a greenish blue color. Now we will be going for the titration. Now slowly I will be operating the knob such that the titrant is going to fall into the conical flask dropwise. We will wait for the color change. We can observe the color change here. The sample color is turning to lightish green there, the final color change has to be wine red. We'll continue the stirring for some more time. Let us wait for the final color change. There is a change in the color that can be seen here. Yes, we have got wine red color for one of the sample. So we need to make a note of the average reading here. We'll do it. So for distilled water sample, we have got it around about 23.6, and whereas for the sample we have got it as 22.8. Now we have got two readings here. For distilled water, we have got the burette reading as 23.6, and for the sample sewage, we have got it as 22.8. 8 multiplied by the normality of ferrous ammonium sulfate is 0.1 multiplied by equivalent weight of oxygen is 8 multiplied by 1000 divided by volume of the sample taken is 5. However, the dilution factor is 2, that means we will be getting the denominator as 2.5, that means 8000 multiplied by 0.1 divided by 2.5. So that means we are going to get around about how much? 0.8 multiplied by 0.1 multiplied by 8000 divided by 2.5, we will be getting around about 256 mg per liter. The treated effluent should have COD value less than 250 mg per liter. So it is on the marginal side. So that's what we can conclude. So this particular effluent requires some amount of treatment, but however the strength of this particular wastewater is not very strong. So this is what we can conclude.